Are you a writer or an aspiring author? You want to publish your first book? Note, there are a lot of things that need to be put in place before you can say you've gotten your final draft. Now, nobody knows it all. We all learn as we go. The fact that we don't know it all doesn't mean we should not take lesson from people that has done it before. My name is Itunu Peter, and I'm the author of three different books that have been published: Sound of the Builder, The Beautiful Mind, and Sound from the Other Side. So, on this episode, I'll be talking on five mistakes that authors make when they are writing their first book, either novel or storybook or anything. Number one on my list is trying to make it perfect on the first draft. Many authors get stuck rewriting the same chapter over and over again without moving forward. Why is it a mistake? Your first draft is supposed to be messy. It's just telling yourself a story, better approach. Now, what do you do in order to overcome this? Write it ugly, write it anyhow. The first sentence, the first chapter, the first thing, the first approach when you are writing the book is not to make it perfect at once. Because when a writer is writing, there is something we call writer's excitement, that when you're sitting down and you're writing a story or you're writing a book, that inspiration, that fresh breath, that breeze of inspiration is just firing. It's like an ignition. Be much like you'll be hyper when writing. Don't try to make everything to be perfect all at once. It's a step, it's a gradual process. The number two mistakes people make while writing is not knowing their target audience, not having a target audience in mind. They don't actually know if they are writing for Gen Z, the teen, or the elderly ones. Now we need to understand the fact that when you are writing book, you need to have a clear specification of audience that will read your book. Now, for example, last day at Fukado's high school, it is for a specific audience. Now, when you're writing a book for Gen Zs, there are some terms that you need to note out because people need to relate with what you are writing. And if you are writing for the elderly ones, there are some terms as well that you need to add. You can't use the same language you use in writing for the Gen Z to write for the elderly ones. Now, before you write that first chapter, before you write that first step, you need to ask yourself, who exactly am I writing for? Your book is not actually for everyone. Newspaper is not for everyone. In a paper, you will see different segments. We have the entertainment sector, we have the football sector, we have the politics sector. Why? Because everybody will buy the whole paper. But this is not a newspaper. This is a book, a novel that needs to be read. The number three mistakes author makes is quitting too early. See, when it comes to writing, writing is not something you sit down and say, I want to finish this book today. I want to finish this thing today. It takes time. It takes process. Writing the first chapter, the second chapter, there comes a time in the life, in the journey of an author, of a writer, that what you are writing feels boring, feels irritating. You don't actually know what you are writing anymore. It feels that this is not my best. It is fine. But the fact that you started, the moment that you started writing, and therefore and make sure that you finish writing that book. Now, why do you think that majority of people that want to write books stopped halfway? I will explain. Most times, we when writing book, it's not you starting with chapter one, boom. Mm-mm. You are rushing yourself. Now, in order not to get stuck, in order not to fall victim of this mistake, there is this thing that you need, there is something that you need to do, which is, if you have an idea in mind, get a jotter, get a book, or use your phone. If you want your book to have like 10 chapters, write down the 10 chapters, summarize the book on your note, then break them down into those chapters. That's how you can overcome this mistake. So you won't get stuck along the line, because you know what each chapter should contain. You know the content. You know everything as you are entering into each chapter. Then another thing that you need to do to avoid this mistake is, if your novel cannot be more than 30 pages, don't stretch it to 40, don't stretch it to 50. 30 is okay for a book. Because you read a novel that is 50 pages or 120 pages doesn't mean you should stretch yourself, start adding unnecessary characters and story in order to make the book bulky. A bulky pages does not make a novel to be great. There are some storybooks that we read while we were in school, just maybe one page, and it makes sense. And there are some books like 1,000 pages, and it feels like, what are you even reading? So avoid this mistake. The number four on my list is overloading the books with idea. I've said this before. Trying to put everything you know into one book. Why is this a mistake? It confuses reader and weakens the main message. What is the better approach? One core message, one core theme. Save the rest for the future books. Now, I will explain. If you're writing a book on crime, let your focus be on crime. If you're writing a book on love, let it be on love. If you're writing a book on motivation, let it be on motivation. Now, you don't need to add politics, football, everything into one book. This is a book. If learn to narrate a straightforward message. To be honest, the moment you're able to achieve this, you're on your way on publishing one of the greatest book to ever written. The moment you have an idea, stay at it. You know the term, you know the message you want to pass across. If it's domestic violence, speak about it. If it's about feminism and or anything, speak about it. Stay on it. You don't need to add unnecessary ideas that will make your readers to lose interest. One of the things I do when I'm writing my book is this: I don't write as an author. I write as though I'm one of the audience. I write as though I will sit down and read my own book. If I'm reading my own book and I'm not having the excitement of writing, of reading, trust me, what I would do is I sometimes I will just charge the everything and I will start over again. That's how it should be. Write as though you are the audience. The feeling that you feel, the feeling that you felt that you are feeling is that feeling that your audience will feel when they are reading your books. Let's not lie to ourselves. If for example, as a poet, if you are writing a poet on depression and you are writing, there is no stay in your emotion, you don't pass the message. You do not stay on theme, you just write. So don't just write to pass messages across. The fifth one, the last but not the least, which is very very important, then you can't become a great writer if you overlook this one, which is skipping editing and feedbacks. Some authors rush to publish without proper editing. Why is this a mistake? Number one, typo error, weak structure. and or clear ideas, which kills credibility. How do you avoid this? Get someone that can proofread your book for you. See, I know you are a great author. I know you can write very well, but you need to understand something. When we are writing, there are some mistakes that we ourselves won't see, that it's others, it's third eye that can see that mistakes. Have you forgotten that sometimes what you want to write, you will think you've wrote it, and your brain automatically read it as well. You yourself alone cannot be the writer, the proofreader. There's no way you won't make mistakes. I've read a novel, and when I was reading it, right from the first page, grammatical errors filled it. Like I was like, who wrote this thing? It shouldn't be said of us that people will get your book, even if it is free. That doesn't mean you should not do a great job. When people see your name, let people have that assurance at the back of their mind that this is an author. I read one of his or her book and they were great. That should be the only thing that should be said of us. You don't need to rush publications. No, there's no need for that. Stay focused. If it will take 6 months, even a year before your editor is done with the job, let it be. My last project, Start of the Builder, I wrote the book 2021. I gave it to my editor to help me to proofread and edit it. It took almost like 6 months. The book I finished in February 2021. I published the book October 2022. Why? I want the best for my audience. I don't want people to see Itunu Peter. They'll be like, "Ah, I read one of his book and it was trash." No, that shouldn't be said of us. That shouldn't be said of me. You need to personalize it now. I will give my best to my readers. I will give my best to my audience. So please, henceforth, as an author, as a writer, we need to put all these five things into consideration so that people will see our name and they will cheer us instead of talking down on us. Like I said earlier, nobody knows it all. We're just learning from past experiences. Thank you for staying with me. And so we come to the end of the today episode. See you guys in the next episode.